The angry voice cut through the crowded auditorium like a knife. "How dare you bring your so-called wife to a family meeting, you disgusting pervert." Mrs. Hargrove snarled at Eliana, pointing directly at Alondra, who sat beside her with quiet dignity. 10 minutes later, Alondra's calm revelation would leave the entire hall speechless. But for Eliana, it was the spark that ignited a war she could no longer hide from her traditional family. Parents shifted uncomfortably in their folding chairs, the PTA meeting at Ridgewood High suddenly feeling more like a courtroom. Eliana, 32, stood at the podium in her tailored navy blazer, dark hair pulled into a neat bun, her brown eyes flashing with a mix of shock and fury. She had come out at school 2 years ago, and the administration had been supportive enough on paper. But this was different. This was Alondra, her wife of 18 months, the woman who had become her anchor in a world that still demanded she choose between love and blood. Mrs. Hargrove, a stout woman in a floral blouse whose son struggled in Eliana's English class, kept going. "This is a family event, not some agenda-pushing sideshow. Think of the children." Murmurs rippled through the room. A few heads nodded. Others looked away, embarrassed but silent. Eliana gripped the podium until her knuckles whitened. "Mrs. Hargrove, my personal life has nothing to do with my teaching. Alondra is here as my spouse, supporting me the same way any partner would." Alondra rose slowly, 5'7" of poised elegance in a cream silk blouse and black slacks, her long wavy hair framing a face that could have belonged on magazine covers. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. "Actually, it does concern everyone here," she said, her tone measured, almost gentle. "Because I'm not just Eliana's wife. I'm Alondra Reyes, lead counsel for the National Center for Civil Rights in Education. I've spent the last 6 months reviewing complaints against this district, including several from LGBTQ students who say they've been harassed while administrators look the other way." The room went dead quiet. Phones that had been recording froze mid-tap. Mrs. Hargrove's mouth opened, closed, then opened again like a fish yanked from water. Eliana felt the floor tilt beneath her. She had known Alondra was a lawyer, but not this. Not the woman quietly building a case that could cost the district millions in reputations. Whispers exploded into gasps. The principal, Mr. Delgado, turned pale at the back of the stage. Mrs. Hargrove recovered enough to sputter, "You can't threaten us." But Alondra only smiled, small and sharp. "It's not a threat, ma'am. It's a fact. And if anyone here believes love between 2 women disqualifies a teacher from doing her job, my team will be happy to discuss that in federal court." She sat back down, hand finding Eliana's under the table, squeezing once, steady, certain. Eliana's heart hammered so hard she could barely hear the principal calling for order. 10 minutes. That was all it took for the carefully balanced life she had built to crack wide open. Because someone in that room was already pulling out a phone, already texting, already ensuring the video would reach the one place Eliana had prayed it never would. Her family's group chat in East Los Angeles, where her father still led the church youth group, and her mother still prayed every night that her daughter would find the right man. By the time the meeting adjourned, Eliana's phone was vibrating nonstop in her pocket. She didn't dare look. Alondra leaned close, perfume soft and familiar. "Breathe, mi amor. We knew this day would come." But Eliana wasn't sure they had known it would come like this. Raw, public, irreversible. Outside, the California evening air felt too warm, too heavy. She kissed Alondra goodbye at the car, promising to call later, then drove the 40 minutes home alone, stomach twisting with the knowledge that the real storm was just beginning. Her apartment was dark when she arrived. She dropped her keys, kicked off her heels, and finally opened the messages. 23 unread. The first was from her sister Sophia. "Eliana, what the hell is this video? Dad is losing his mind." The second from her mother. "Mija, please tell me it's not true. Call me." The third was a voice note from her father, voice trembling with rage she had never heard directed at her before. "If this is how you repay everything we sacrificed to come to this country, then maybe you are no longer my daughter." Eliana sank onto the couch, phone slipping from her fingers. She had spent years shielding them, careful words, vague answers, holidays spent with friends. Now the shield was gone, shattered in a school auditorium by one woman's bigotry and her wife's quiet power. She dialed Alondra, voice cracking on the first ring. "They know. Everyone knows. Alondra's reply was soft but steel-edged. Then we face it together. No more hiding. But Eliana wasn't sure she was ready for together. Not when the cost could be her entire family. The next morning the school parking lot buzzed with stares. Eliana kept her head high as she walked to her classroom, but every whispered conversation felt aimed at her. Students glanced up too long when she entered. A few offered shy thumbs up. Others looked away. By third period the principal called her in. Mr. Delgado closed the door face tight. Eliana, the board is reviewing the video. Mrs. Hargrove filed a formal complaint. They're talking suspension pending investigation. She laughed bitterly. Investigation into what, being married? He wouldn't meet her eyes. It's optics. You know how this town is. Optics. The word tasted like ash. She thought of her father's face on the voice note, the way her mother's prayers had always carried the weight of expectation. Optics had kept her silent for years. That afternoon she drove to her parents' house in Boyle Heights, the neighborhood where she had grown up speaking Spanish at home and English at school, where family honor was currency more valuable than money. Her mother opened the door before she could knock, eyes red-rimmed. Come inside, Mija. Your father is waiting. The living room smelled of pozole and tension. Her father sat in his recliner, Bible open on his lap, jaw set like stone. Sophia hovered by the kitchen doorway, arms crossed, looking anywhere but at Eliana. So, her father began, voice low. You are married to a woman. And now the whole world knows because you paraded her at your school. Eliana's throat tightened. I didn't parade anyone, Papa. Alondra is my wife. I love her. Her mother made a small wounded sound. Love? The Bible says. I know what it says. Eliana cut in, gentler than she felt. I've read it too. But I also know what my heart says. And it says Alondra is the best thing that ever happened to me. Her father stood, 6-foot frame still imposing at 68. And what about us? My position at the church, your mother's sewing circle, your brother's construction business that relies on church contracts? One viral video and clients are already calling, asking questions. Do you understand what you have done to this family? Sophia finally spoke, voice shaky. Eli, I get it, okay? But maybe you can just say it was a mistake. That you were confused. People forget. The suggestion landed like a slap. Eliana stared at her sister, the one who used to sneak her out to parties in high school, the one who had always had her back. You want me to lie? To deny Alondra? Her father's eyes hardened. If it saves this family, yes. The betrayal stung deeper than she expected. She left without dinner, driving back to her apartment in tears. Alondra was waiting on the couch when she arrived, takeout tie on the coffee table. One look at Eliana's face and she opened her arms. Eliana collapsed into them, sobbing against her wife's shoulder. They want me to choose. Them or you. Alondra stroked her hair. No one should have to choose. But if they force it, she didn't finish. She didn't have to. That night Eliana lay awake, Alondra's even breathing beside her, and wondered how long she could keep pretending the choice wasn't already tearing her in half. By Friday the school board had suspended her with pay for review. The local news ran a 30-second clip of the meeting, blurring faces but not names. Her phone wouldn't stop ringing, reporters, old classmates, distant cousins. She turned it off. Alondra came home from her office with flowers and a new resolve. I filed the discrimination complaint today. The district is going to feel it. Eliana smiled, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. Because while Alondra fought the system, Eliana was fighting the people who had raised her. And she wasn't sure which battle would break her first. The suspension notice arrived by certified mail on Monday. Eliana read it 3 times, the legal language blurring. Pending investigation into conduct unbecoming a teacher. Unbecoming. As if loving Alondra made her unfit to teach Shakespeare to teenagers. She called the union rep, who promised to fight but warned it could take months. Months without a paycheck in Los Angeles. Months of watching her savings dwindle while her family's silence grew louder. Her brother Marco showed up unannounced that evening. Work boots dusty from the construction site. He hugged her hard the way he had when they were kids. Sis, Dad's talking crazy. Says if you don't make a statement he's cutting you out of the will. Mom's not eating. Eliana poured him coffee, hands shaking. And what do you think? Marco looked at the floor. I think you're happy. I've seen you with Alondra. But the business, Eli. Half our contracts come from the church network. If they pull out, he trailed off. The fear in his voice was new. Marco, the tough older brother who had taught her to ride a bike, was afraid of losing everything because of who she loved. She wanted to scream. Instead, she said, I won't lie about my wife. He left without finishing his coffee. That night, Alondra found her on the balcony, staring at the city lights. Your family called me today, she said quietly. Your mother. She asked if I would step back. For the family's sake. Eliana turned stunned. She what? Alondra's eyes were sad but steady. I told her no. I'm not going anywhere. She pulled Eliana close. But I need you to be sure you're not going anywhere either. The doubt in her wife's voice cracked something inside Eliana. She had hesitated once, years ago, when they first moved in together, telling her family Alondra was a roommate. That hesitation had hurt Alondra then. Now it was happening again in smaller ways, avoiding joint photos on social media, dodging questions at Thanksgiving. The next morning, Sophia texted a screenshot. Their father's church newsletter had a prayer request for a daughter lost to modern confusion. Eliana stared at the words until they burned. Lost. As if she had died. She drove to the church after school hours, suspended or not, old habits died hard. Her father was in his office, sorting hymnals. He didn't look up. I have nothing to say until you repent. Repent for loving someone? For choosing sin over family. The words landed heavy. Eliana left without another word. But the damage was done. That evening she sat Alondra down. I think I need to go public. A statement. My truth. Alondra searched her face. Only if you're ready. Not because the pressure is breaking you. Eliana wasn't sure she was ready. But the alternative, more silence, more shame, felt like dying slowly. The video Eliana posted went viral by morning. 30 seconds of her standing in their living room, Alondra's hand in hers. My name is Eliana Vargas. I am a teacher. I am a daughter. And I am proudly married to the woman I love. If that makes me unfit to teach, then the system is broken, not me. Comments flooded in, support from strangers, hate from others, and then the one that shattered her. Her mother's private message. You have killed your father. He had a heart episode last night. The doctor says stress. How can you do this to us? Eliana dropped the phone. Alondra drove her to the hospital in silence. Her father was stable but refused to see her. Sophia met them in the waiting room, eyes red. He keeps saying you chose her over blood. Mom won't stop crying. Eli, maybe just take the video down. Say it was a mistake. Alondra stiffened beside her. Eliana felt the old fear rise. Fear of losing the only family she had ever known. For one terrible second she considered it. Considered apologizing, deleting the post, telling the world it had been a phase. The thought made her sick, but it was there. Alondra noticed. She always noticed. That night at home the air between them felt fragile. You hesitated, Alondra said softly. In the hospital. I saw it. I was scared, Eliana whispered. He could have died. And I'm scared of losing you to them, Alondra replied, voice cracking for the first time. Every time you flinch when someone stares, every time you change the subject around your family, it feels like you're choosing them. The words hung between them like smoke. Eliana reached for her wife, but Alondra pulled back gently. I love you, but I won't be your secret anymore. Not even a little. The next day the school board called. The investigation was expanding. Parents were circulating a petition. Her union rep sounded tired. They're offering a quiet resignation with severance. Take it and this goes away. Eliana hung up and stared at the wall. Career, family, marriage, all slipping through her fingers. She thought of the students who had sent her encouraging notes, the ones who had come out to her in confidence. Walking away would betray them too. That evening her sister showed up with their mother. Sophia had betrayed her again. Leaked the hospital visit to the church prayer chain. Their mother hugged her stiffly. Please, Mija. Your father is asking for you. Just say the words. Say it was a mistake. Eliana looked at Alondra standing in the kitchen doorway, beautiful and steady and hurting. She thought of every holiday she had spent pretending. Every prayer she had whispered alone in the dark. No, she said. The word felt like freedom and like death at the same time. Her mother left crying. Sophia didn't look back. The petition reached 2,000 signatures. Local news trucks parked outside the school. Eliana's severance offer was withdrawn. Now they wanted her gone without pay. Alondra's lawsuit against the district moved forward, depositions scheduled. The pressure became a living thing, squeezing every part of their life. Eliana's phone stayed silent from her family except for one text from Marco. Dad's pulling the church contracts from my company. We're going to lose the house if this keeps up. Please, sis. Just one statement. She read it in the grocery store and had to leave her cart. In the car she cried until Alondra found her, took the keys and drove them home. That night they fought for the first time in months. Real ugly tears and raised voices. You're letting them win. Alondra shouted. Every time you read their messages you shrink. I can't watch you disappear. I'm trying to protect everyone. Eliana shot back. You don't understand what family means to me. The silence after was worse than the yelling. Alondra slept on the couch. Eliana stared at the ceiling until dawn, wondering if love was supposed to cost this much. The climax came on a Thursday. Her father called, first time in weeks. Voice weak from the hospital stay. Come to the house tonight. Alone. We need to talk as a family. Alondra didn't argue when Eliana left. She just kissed her forehead and said, whatever you choose, I'll still be here when you get back. But only if you choose all of me. The family sat around the dining table like old times. Father pale but determined. Mother wringing her hands, Sophia and Marco avoiding her eyes. Her father slid a paper across the table. A drafted statement. I regret the confusion my actions caused. I am seeking counseling to align my life with God's will. Eliana read it once. Twice. The room waited. She thought of Alondra's face that morning, strong, beautiful, patient even when hurt. She thought of the students who needed to see someone like her succeed. She thought of the little girl she had been, praying in church to be normal. She tore the paper in half. I love you, she told them, voice steady. But I will not lie about who I am. Not anymore. Her father stood slowly. Then you are no longer welcome in this house. And you are no longer my daughter. The words should have broken her. Instead they felt like the last chain snapping. She walked out without looking back. Eliana drove home through streets she had known her whole life, tears blurring the lights. When she walked through the door, Alondra was waiting, eyes wide with worry. One look at Eliana's face and she knew. She crossed the room in 3 strides and pulled her into her arms. I did it, Eliana whispered against her neck. I chose us. For real this time. Alondra held her tighter. I'm so proud of you. And I'm sorry it cost so much. The days that followed were quiet in ways that hurt. Her mother sent a single text. Your father is home but he won't speak your name. Marco's company lost 3 contracts. Sophia blocked her on everything. The family she had fought so hard to protect had chosen honor over her. But the school board, facing Alondra's lawsuit and national media attention, quietly dropped the investigation. Eliana was reinstated with back pay and a public apology. Students started a support club. Alondra's case settled out of court with policy changes that protected every queer kid in the district. 6 months later they stood in the same auditorium for another PTA meeting. This time no one shouted. Mrs. Hargrove wasn't there. Rumor said she had transferred her son. Eliana spoke about inclusive curriculum. Alondra sat in the front row, proud and visible. Afterward, in the parking lot under the same California sky, Eliana turned to her wife. I thought losing them would break me. But I'm still here. We're still here. Alondra smiled, brushing a strand of hair from Eliana's face. You didn't lose everything. You gained yourself. They drove home together, hands linked on the gearshift, the future stretching wide and uncertain but finally honest. Was sacrificing her happiness for family honor the right choice for Eliana? True or false?